Aliens. They have been used in a plethora of different ways in horror gaming, but what would happen if you took one horror game alien creature that is terrifying and put them against another one? Who would win in a battle of the strongest? My name is Sugarfreetp, and I'm here to explore what would happen if two different universes collided in front of us. In Alien Isolation, we see how truly terrifying the Xenomorph actually is and how detrimental to our species it would be if it so happened to come here on Earth. This thing, standing at a whopping 7 to 8 feet tall, when fully grown as just the regular Xenomorphs, absolutely terrifying. They can weigh anywhere between 200 to 300 pounds and are specifically designed to fit into small spaces. They're completely quiet and they're absolutely deadly. When you look at the anatomy of the Xenomorph, you see how crazy this thing is. With an elongated head and a double mouth, it has a very slim body and a very long tail. Claws that can rip you apart in seconds, and what's even more terrifying, acidic blood that has been seen to melt through steel in seconds, that has been known to melt through entire body parts in moments. This thing is truly terrifying. The Xenomorph not only is built for stealth, being completely black, but its exoskeleton is incredibly durable. It is incredibly resilient against a lot of physical punishment, including different types of firearms. Even high caliber rounds have often been seen not to penetrate its body. The Xenomorph also is capable of a limited amount of recovery from said damage. Now, don't let all of this information fool you. The Xenomorph does have various weaknesses, one of them being fire. Fire is very effective against the Xenomorph. Not only that, but high impact explosives can definitely penetrate their exoskeleton. They're also known as pack hunters. So if you isolate one, it can potentially make it a lot easier to eliminate it because it is by itself. And not only that, it is known to be outsmarted by those who use tricky tactics. But just because it can be outsmarted does not mean that this thing is not smart. It is an avid learner. And we clearly see that in Alien Isolation, where it continuously learns where you are hiding and places to look for you. And that proves that it has the capability of learning patterns and habits of its opponent. If there are three important things that I would love to point out about the Xenomorph, it's this. They are pretty darn fast. They move at 30 miles per hour and they're completely quiet. They emit no sound as they are moving. And the craziest part is their mouth is capable of piercing steel, meaning they have the capability of breaking through even armored trucks. This thing is insane. Now that we understand a little bit of the anatomy of the Xenomorph, we realize that it is not the only presence here. There is a formidable opponent who is just as fast and just as powerful as it is. And let's see how it stacks up against this monster. These monsters are referred to as Death Angels in this series. They stand at a staggering 8 to 10 feet tall and can weigh anywhere between 200 to 300 pounds. And given the fact that they're so big, their physical presence is terrifying. Death Angel stands on 4 legs and has an exoskeleton that almost seems impenetrable. It is known to take firearms, including high caliber rounds, and to withstand substantial damage without immediately being incapacitated. The exoskeleton of the Death Angel is like plated armor that protects its insides from being damaged. That does not mean that it is also completely impenetrable, because they are known to have an acoustic sensitivity, meaning that at certain decibels, the Death Angel goes into a shock-like state that then begins to expose its insides and the sensitive parts of its body. Now, don't let this fool you. That does not mean that the Death Angel is easy to take down. One of its most significant traits is its sense of hearing. It has such an exceptional sense of hearing that even the smallest thing from a sneeze from miles away can trigger its instincts to find where you are in an instant. It's incredibly fast as well. Anywhere between 30 to 40 miles per hour is how it can run. It not only can run, but it can climb incredibly well as well. Not only can it climb very well, but it also has an incredible predatory instinct that is solely what it relies on. Its hunting instincts to find and kill its prey. Not only that, but it also has the capability of camouflage and stealth, allowing it to blend in with its surroundings, making it very strong and very hard to see at times. Now you might be thinking to yourself, oh, so only sound is its weakness, correct? Wrong. This thing has actually multiple weaknesses aside from sound. It is also completely blind. It does not see anything, so it relies solely on its ability to hear. Even though that's exceptional, it can also be fooled by sound. Not only can it be fooled by sound, but it has a lot of environmental limitations. It can navigate pretty well, but because of its bulk and size, colliding into things is going to be very common in a battle tactics situation. And when you have a creature that big, tight or small spaces, it's incapable of really doing much. I would also say that its biggest weakness is its lack of intelligence. Being completely reliant upon its senses to hunt and its instincts, it can be outsmarted very easily. And more than anything, if in fact its insides have been revealed, it is an easy target to take down. But what happens when it meets a creature that is the equivalent of itself? Let's find out. Now let's set the scene for this encounter between the Xenomorph and the Death Angel. On this fateful day in February 21st, 2025, a meteor crashes on the Earth. It hits a big city and people are screaming and running around everywhere. Simultaneously, a crashed ship also falls in that same city. Now, as all the locals are terrified, they're screaming, they're trying to figure out what's going on. Not only is there a meteorite that hit, but there's also a crashed ship. They begin to see creatures starting to come out, and immediately everyone's running. Now, within hours, the dust is everywhere. There's no more sound going out. People have dispersed, and there are creatures crawling in the darkness. This is where our first encounter ensues. We see a Xenomorph slowly crouching up, walking through the rubble, quietly watching, looking for more prey. As we see a giant creature barreling through, knocking over vehicles and all kinds of rubble to get to their prey. Both of these creatures are scouts, both of them listening intently on what is coming. Both immediately feel the instincts of a fight. Now here's my theory. Here's how I believe that these situations would play out. For the sake of evenness, for the sake of continuity, I want to make it an equal playing field on what I think would be the most practical and most common way that these two creatures would encounter each other. No home field advantage, nothing. I believe that it would play out just like this. The Xenomorph, being a predator itself, would immediately begin to watch and crouch, seeing what this creature is doing. And just as this is going on, the Death Angel immediately senses and is hearing even just a slight movement and noises of crumbling, and is searching, hearing for prey. Now this is where I think the Xenomorph has the advantage. It is not only fast, but is incredibly stealthy, incredibly quiet. But it also makes hissing noises. And in the moment that that happens, you see the Death Angel charge in the direction of the Xenomorph. Now the Xenomorph, being just as fast as the Death Angel, will immediately respond in kind. Now we know that the Xenomorph often uses stealth tactics to take down its prey. It just doesn't rush in to immediately attack. So it's watching and seeing as this Death Angel barrels towards it. Now, it's also making noise as it does it. So you can see that the Death Angel is literally tracking this creature. And I believe that at this time, the Xenomorph will begin to catch on the noise is what's causing the tracking. Now, in the scenario of being in a city or a place where there are a lot of things, I believe that the Xenomorph would easily find a place to sneak into, to hide and watch. Knowing that this is how it attacks, I believe that at the same point, the Death Angel would attempt to make its way into stealthing itself, knowing that it heard something, but it disappeared. But it's also going to be relentlessly relying on its instinct to find this creature. If in this scenario it plays out like it would in my head, I think the common thing that would happen is as the Xenomorph begins to move, it would make noise. And if it's a smaller space, immediately the Death Angel would go right after the Xenomorph. I believe that would be the first thing it would do, because that's just the way the creature is. It's instinct alone. And in that scenario, it will find itself hitting many different things that could easily slow it down, that makes it easier for the Xenomorph to track, giving it the advantage when it comes to stealth to be able to do things like attack, to be able to do things like hop on. And I think at this point, it's going to be a matter of who has the upper hand on stealth. Hear me out. In my opinion, I think the Xenomorph takes it on stealth. And we know that it has the capability of doing great damage with its bites. What I would assume that would happen is this. Is the Xenomorph would attack, would find out that it was not so easy breaking through its back. It would immediately, as it's fighting, decide to step away and watch again. We've seen it do this before, and I believe that would be the most common tactic, that if it doesn't immediately get an advantage, it would back away and it would find another way to attack. And this time, because the Xenomorph learns, this is the advantage that it would have. It would know that some of its basic attacks would not actually hurt, and it would find other things to use to hurt it, including its mouth. And if the Death Angel does not get a hold of the Xenomorph, I believe 6 out of 10 times the Xenomorph will take it for a few reasons. One is acidic blood. And I think that the acidic blood being one of the most important things in this fight is going to immediately change even possible draws to a W for the Xenomorph. As we know, the blood, the acid from itself, can eat through steel and is eaten through body parts in instances. I believe that the carapace, or what you would call the exoskeleton, stands no chance against this acid blood. Not only that, the Xenomorph can outsmart due to learning, and it has the ability to puncture holes into the body of the Death Angel. Now, mind you, I do think that the moment that the Death Angel gets a hold of or can grab onto the Xenomorph's going to have a really tough time getting away. I do believe on a strength perspective, the Death Angel has it. I believe that the Death Angel could probably rip off parts of the Xenomorph. Possibly, I believe so. I don't think it would be easy. I don't think it could bludgeon it to death, but I do think that it has capabilities. Neither one of them has the ability to use something that they're vulnerable to. There's no high decibel noise that the alien can make, and there's no fire that the Death Angel can create to give itself an easy win. So looking at all the things that make them strong, as my own opinion goes, I do believe this is a W for the Xenomorph. I appreciate every single one of you watching and listening to my theory between these two Goliaths. Now, that doesn't mean I'm stopping here. I got more coming for you and more coming for you soon. I hope you're ready.